The United States Supreme Court has delivered a verdict that shakes the foundation of Donald Trump's post-presidency. The court refused to hear Trump's appeal in the E. Jean Carroll case, letting the lower court's ruling stand. Trump has been found liable for sexual abuse and defamation. This is not just a legal footnote, it's a historic final word on a case that's divided the nation. The Supreme Court's refusal means the jury's verdict is now the definitive legal truth. Even with 3 justices he appointed, the court declined to intervene. This cements a significant chapter in Trump's legacy, one that will be studied for years. The legal process has run its course. There are no more appeals. For Trump, this is a personal and political blow. He has always denied the allegations, calling the process a witch hunt. But now, the system has delivered its final answer. The verdict is final, and the story of what happened decades ago is now part of the legal record. This decision reverberates far beyond the courtroom. It's a moment of reckoning for millions of Americans. The Supreme Court's action signals that no one, not even a former president, is above the law. The legal battle is over, but its impact will echo for years. To grasp the magnitude of today's news, we need to know who E. Jean Carroll is. Carroll is a celebrated writer and former Elle magazine advice columnist. For decades, she was a trusted voice to millions, but she carried a painful secret. In the mid-1990s, she says Donald Trump sexually assaulted her in a department store dressing room. For over 20 years, she kept this story private, confiding only in a few friends. Like many survivors, she feared the consequences of speaking out. Everything changed in 2019 during the Me Too movement. Carroll published her account in a book and magazine article, detailing the alleged assault. Trump, then president, denied ever meeting her, attacked her appearance, and called her story a hoax. Carroll sued for defamation, arguing Trump's denials destroyed her reputation and caused immense harm. The lawsuit wasn't just about the alleged assault, it was about holding him accountable for his words. The case became a landmark test. Could a sitting president be held responsible for statements that damage a private citizen? Carroll's courage to come forward set the stage for a legal showdown that would last years. Her story resonated with many, highlighting the challenges survivors face. Trump's denials and attacks fueled the controversy, making the case a national flashpoint. The legal battle that followed would test the limits of presidential accountability. Carroll's fight was about more than personal justice. It was about truth and consequences. The case would ultimately become a defining moment in the intersection of power, accountability, and the law. And it all began with one woman's decision to speak out. The legal saga between Carroll and Trump led to 2 major jury verdicts. In May 2023, a federal jury found Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation, awarding Carroll $5 million. This was the first time a jury held Trump legally responsible for sexual assault. A second trial focused on Trump's 2019 denials while he was president. After complex legal wrangling, a new jury awarded Carroll an additional $83.3 million. This included $18.3 million in compensatory damages and a staggering $65 million in punitive damages. The message was clear: public attacks on Carroll's character would not go unpunished. Together, the verdicts totaled over $88 million, a devastating financial and legal blow for Trump. For Carroll, it was vindication after years of being called a liar. For Trump, it was a costly rebuke from 2 separate juries. These verdicts validated Carroll's story in the eyes of the law. The financial penalty was historic, but the symbolic impact was even greater. The case set a precedent for holding powerful figures accountable. The next phase, Trump's determined appeals to overturn the decisions, but the courts would prove unyielding. Trump and his legal team launched a relentless appeal campaign, claiming the trials were unfair and the judge biased. They objected to testimony from other women and the infamous Access Hollywood tape, arguing these prejudiced the jury. Trump's lawyers insisted Carroll's story lacked evidence. No eyewitnesses, no video, no police report. They painted the lawsuit as politically motivated. Despite these arguments, appeals courts upheld both verdicts, finding no significant errors. Trump's final hope was the Supreme Court. Each legal avenue was exhausted, and every court ruled against him. The appeals process ended in defeat. The Supreme Court's refusal marked the end of the road. The Supreme Court's decision sparked outrage from Trump's camp and quiet vindication from Carroll's. Trump's team called it a miscarriage of justice, repeating claims of political persecution. Trump himself railed against the decision online, insisting the fight wasn't over. His supporters saw the ruling as proof of a rigged system. Carroll's team, by contrast, let the verdicts speak for themselves. For Carroll, the decision affirmed her truth and the work of her legal team. Supporters saw it as a victory for survivors and the rule of law. The contrast was stark. One side saw conspiracy, the other saw justice. The nation watched two very different reactions to the same legal outcome. The Supreme Court's decision ends Trump's appeals, but a bigger constitutional question lingers: presidential immunity. Trump's lawyers argued his 2019 denials were official acts, making him immune from civil lawsuits. Courts disagreed, saying denying a decades-old personal allegation wasn't part of presidential duties. The Justice Department urged careful consideration of this issue, recognizing its impact on future presidents. The Supreme Court may yet weigh in on this broader question. The debate over presidential immunity could shape the limits of executive power for years to come. For now, the legal saga closes, but the constitutional debate continues. The Supreme Court's decision is a definitive end to one of Trump's most damaging legal battles. He is now legally responsible for sexual abuse and defamation, facing over $88 million in penalties. The damage to his legacy is permanent. This verdict is now part of the official record. Politically, the outcome complicates his future ambitions and arms his opponents with powerful ammunition. For the Me Too movement and survivors, it's a landmark victory. The case proves that powerful men can be held accountable, even decades later. Carroll's legal strategy may become a blueprint for future cases. The decision affirms the integrity of the jury system and the rule of law. In a polarized era, it shows the justice system can function independently. No one, not even a former president, is above the law. The story of Carroll and Trump has reached its legal conclusion, but its impact on justice, the presidency, and America's sense of itself is just beginning.